Thank you so much for joining us on Straight Outta Savannah. I am so excited to be here with my guest, Gale Rucker slash Camille. She is going to share who she is and what it is that she does. So, Gale, take it away.
Hi there, kiddies. Hi there, my friends. My name is Gale Rucker. My author name is Camille, St. Charles, Mississippi, and I am a romantic and erotic architect. I construct stories. Some of them are in the love arena, and then some of them are very racy, adventurous, and naughty. It just depends on what's going on. So,
Oh, wow. So, Gale, talk to us about how you got there. How did you get to the place where you felt comfortable enough to write erotica?
I struggled because I'm a PK, I'm a preacher's kid.
Yeah.
And I kept listening to the voice that was in my head because God kept telling me to write, but I was like, but my mind kept landing in the erotic arena. And I was like, that's a juggling act up in itself. And so I called my father, who was a minister, and I told him what I was thinking of. And he said, well, baby, there's no need for you to be ashamed about sex because that's something that God made.
Wow.
So you have no shame to offer anyone, and you have no explanations to give either. So if that's what you decide you want to do, have at it. And I was like, that's all I need, player. That's all I need. So after he gave me basically the go ahead, I started reading. I was like, okay, because my stories had such a racy, because I didn't live that sweet, pristine, delicate, dainty life. I didn't live that life. I lived a life that was full of chaos and drama and pandemonium and, sex and erotic things and comedy was the thread woven all through my life. So I just started mimicking aspect of my life. And I sat down and started writing a naughty little tale. And that's how my first series of stories showed up. So
I love it. I love it because erotica is something that was in my mind as well. So when I met you, I said, I have to talk to her. I said, because that that was a part of me too. I mean, that actually is the journey that I'm on as far as, I came out of deep religion. My grandmother was a pastor, preacher, teacher, evangelist, prophetess type, and then, went on into spirituality and, writing and all the other things. And erotica was something that is on my menu. I know I'm supposed to do it because I have the stories in my head. But where did you start? Like, what did you start doing before you started, with these beautiful novellas?
Well, I used to be, before I'm nestled in Michigan, but before I came to Michigan, I used to live in California, and I come from the world of beauty. So I worked at Macy's, cosmetics, fragrances, marketing, traveling, all other stuff. I did that from the world of beauty. And when I moved here to Michigan, I became a substitute school teacher, but I just was struggling. I had the hardest time finding my way here in Michigan. I couldn't find my peace. I couldn't find my tribe. Everybody thought that I was crazy. And one day, after I had done my stint being a substitute school teacher, I felt as if God had showed up and sat down and started talking with me. And God had said to me, in the midst of us just talking, God said, have you considered being an author? And I started laughing. And I said, well, God, I can go to school for that. I didn't have that literary background. And I said, I don't know how to do any of that. And then God said, I'm going to make you qualified. And I said, but, and then finally, after I got tired of telling God everything that I was not, I said, okay, I surrender. Okay, God. Okay. Now, and I kept going back to reiterate with him. Now, I don't have any education or background in being an author. I don't have a clue. I don't know what I'm doing. God said, I'm going to make you qualified. Just do it. So it took me a minute to find my voice. And then the sex kept walking to the front of the line. And I was like, wait a minute, stop. So after I made peace with that and I sat down and I started telling you a story, my first offering was 75 pages. I wrote it longhand for a friend. And I said, read this and let me know what you think, because I need to know, do you see the story in that?
Longhand like
Yes.
that?
Yes.
Oh my God, 75 pages?
75.
Oh, wow.
Yep,
Shoot.
75. I still have the tablet, 75 pages, because, I used to have to take a number to get online back in, it started like 15 years ago, to get online. And then I had my kids who were doing homework and we only had one big desktop. And so when I wanted to get on there, right, they were doing homework and then
Gotcha.
playing games. So the ideas kept presenting themselves in my head. So I bought myself a tablet and I just started jotting down little things that would fascinate me and what I wanted a certain character to experience and encounter and what they look like. And, I was just laying the foundation.
Yes.
Then I sat down and I just started writing it. And it took a minute, but by the time I finally found my groove and I had made my first one, 75 pages. And when I gave it to a friend, she said, where did this stuff come from? I said, oh, it's just been living in a corridor in my mind. It's just been,
I love it.
It's just been, just walking up and down the aisle. So after I wrote my first one, and then my first book was born, and I didn't kill my character off because I was like, at least I could say I did it. I was going to kill my character off. And one of my friends said, have you lost your mind? You don't kill the heroine. But I was like, well, I'm just doing it because I'm still trying to find my place. But after I kept writing, my one book turned into 3, and my 3 books turned into 9 books. So my first series is 9 stories, and they're called the R series. And they're all very racy, adventurous, and naughty. So you have to get your mind right and be prepared when you step into that world, because it's not all sex, but sex is pivotal. And so when it does show up, I need you to know I'm not going to say he kissed my cheek and I blushed and all the other stuff. Oh, I'm sorry, because I don't read books like that. I need to know what's going on. And if I have to get down and dirty with you, so be it. So I give you all of the naughty and the racy and the adventurous ingredients for the book. I offer that to you because I want you to be a passenger just like me. Because when the stories showed up, I felt as if I was a passenger. I was on a runaway train. It had its own life.
Okay, that is, yeah. So what I'm hearing is that you channeled these books.
Yes.
From a place deep.
Yes.
In the corridor.
It had been there. It's just I never knew how to streamline it and present it so it can be, in a digestible form.
Yes. Oh my God.
I needed it streamlined. And I didn't know, because I am a wordy person and I am a detail-oriented person. So I tell you everything. It's left up to the editor to go back and streamline it and make it more so digestible and cut down. Because, some days I talk a lot and then some days I have nothing to say. So, just depends. Just depends on what's going on.
And that's all right.
Yeah, just depends on what's going on. So
that is, oh my God, you don't know how you are inspiring me, but I'm telling you, you set a fire to me. You really do. Every time I hear you talk and every time I read your posts, I'm a fan. I have to tell you.
Thank you.
You're so
Thank
welcome.
you. I never knew that, but thank you. Because sometimes you don't know if people are actually paying attention to you.
Yes.
And I'm finding my way. Now I've made peace with, I'm not in competition with anybody, whatever, because I have a lot of friends that I watch a lot of people who are who are authors. And I was like, but I don't operate like them. But I had to make peace with, I do what I do.
Yes.
I do what I do.
Yes.
I said, so, they've had history and they've been doing this, and some of them went to school for this.
Yes.
I just happened to pick up the baton, and God said to me, go lead the parade. And I said, well, God, so I just take the baton. Like,
well, now you know that when God calls people, he don't call the ones
that's qualified.
I was gonna say he don't call the ones with the PhD in writing, or that was a professor and whatever. He don't call those people.
No, I know.
He called the other ones. He called the ones like you and the ones like me to say, no, I don't want to do that. I ran for decades from these things that I'm doing now. Because I was like, no, I don't want to do no, I don't want to do it.
Kicking and screaming. And then I was like, and then once I found my place, after I wasn't competing with anyone, and I was like, well, this is just who I am. Now, there's different levels to me. Now, when we're talking about my books, make sure now sex is going to be on the forefront. It's right there.
Well, sex is, if you think about it.
I know, but a lot of people, since I'm a preacher's daughter, and a lot of people, like, how can you do that and talk so vulgar? And I would make them aware, but the vulgar language feels so good in my mouth.
You know what I tell them? I know you like it. Stop playing.
So I'm just mimicking things that I have experienced and encountered and seen. I'm not in the process of trying to impress anyone. I'm just telling you a story. And if by chance you believe that it's real, have at it.
I love that. Oh my God, that is so inspiring. Oh my God, you don't even know. I'm like, that's amazing. That's amazing, because so many people are so afraid to step out into these places that they know they're supposed to be. You knew this was something you were supposed to do, even before you got the permission from your dad, right?
After God kept showing up and saying the same thing, and I'm telling, we were battling because
you wasn't listening.
battling. God and I were battling, like he's telling me, you do this, you do that, and I was like, have you forgotten the things that I possess? I don't know this stuff, God. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm walking blindly. Now, if you would ask me to go shopping with you, or let's do your makeup, or buy perfume, or let's do your house, I'm that chick. But now one day I said, I'm like an architect. I'm building worlds with my words. And I said, oh, I'm an erotic architect. Oh, I like that. Oh, so I have nobody to impress. And if by chance you don't like the way that I write, I'm not offended. I just don't write only erotica. I write love stories. I write cookbooks. I have a greeting card, a line of greeting cards. I do an assortment of things in the media, in the literary arena. So I'm not just a one-trick pony.
Get ready to say that. I'm like,
I'm not just a one-trick pony, but
so you're not locked into what is that thing
a genre.
So
no, I am not. I occupy 5 genres. So, I occupy romance, mystery, suspense, action, sex. I occupy all those arenas, and I want you to be comfortable and be at ease. And I am in the process of securing different fans, because I'm not for everyone. And once I made peace with that, I didn't struggle. Be like, okay. So when you happen to see me, because I would go to a lot of poetry slams and stuff, and I would make the people aware, I'm not a poet. I'm a storyteller.
Yes.
And I'm going to tell you a naughty little story, because, I also write stories titled after world famous desserts.
Oh, I love it.
And so while I am at certain clubs or whatever, I have some friends serve desserts when I get up to tell a story. So you get to sample the real dessert when I'm telling you this could be a naughty story behind a said dessert. So, but you have to have your mind together, because if by chance you easily offend, you don't like violence and vulgarity and lots of sex, then I can wait for you to leave. So I'll just turn my back. I would turn my back on the audience. I'd poof my hair up. I'd turn around. And then if they are still there when I come back, I was like, oh my God, you're still here.
Look, so glad to see you.
Well, let's go. Strap yourselves in.
I
So
love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. That is so amazing, because the thing is we are so multi as
yes,
women. You know,
yes,
we don't have to be lots
just
of,
one.
because people
Yeah.
always ask me, well, what do you write? I say anything I want. That's what I say.
Yes.
I said, I write anything I want. You know, I said, I'm writing a book now about Jesus and some of the people in the people in the Bible and their backstories. You know, like, what if Jesus had a wife? That kind of stuff.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm like, I'm writing this because it's something that interests me, and I thought it was fun. You know, and to me, that's what we do it for, because it's fun.
Yeah, it's fun. And I have a very adventurous life in my mind.
Yes.
You know, oh my God, I have traveled the world 20 times or more. I've met and seen and done an assortment of things, but I've done it more so with my words. So it's like I've actually done it.
You have
So
created it.
Yeah, I created it. And then I find myself standing there talking to strangers. Let's say I was at a conference or whatever, and all these well-to-do, high upper echelon people were there. It's just making my way. Hi, nice to meet you, blah, blah, blah. And so finally, after everybody was talking about their accolades and all the things that they've accomplished and blah, 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 they looked at me like, so what do you do? And I said, oh, I write erotica.
What did they say?
And they were like, what? I said, yeah. I said,
I fly on the wall in that conversation.
Oh, girl,
that would be amazing.
I would have brain surgeons wanting to talk with me about, well, wait a minute. So do you write with somebody else? And I'm like, no, I write by myself. I said, my mind, some days it's vast and never ending. Some days it's gutter bound. It just depends on what's going on in the story, you know, the fun that I wish to have. I said, because, you know, I dream up all of these scenarios. I just dream them up, and then I put them down on paper and
you
make it happen.
Color.
I make it
color.
Yeah. I actually see my stories perform in front of me as I'm writing.
Oh.
I see them. It's like it's a movie going on.
And I'm just sitting there. Have you ever thought about making them into like some short movies?
I'd love to. I welcome that. Maybe someone will step out of our now and make that so. I'd love that. Because
I mean, I've been tagging Shonda Rhimes in my stuff.
Girl, I've tagged her and Viola Davis, Tyler Perry, and Will
Alicia
Packer.
Keys.
Yeah, girl, I thought it was just me, and I was like, and Ava DuVernay.
Yes.
Yeah, DuVernay. I've tagged her several times. I was like,
girl,
I'm sorry.
I got them people in my tags. Like I tagged Drew Barrymore, I tagged Ellen, I tagged Oprah, I got them people in my tags. So every time, and I I have my hashtags in a note in my phone. And it's got a folder that says hashtags, and I just put them. And every time I think of another one, I add it, and then I just copy and paste them to whatever I'm posting. Like, you know, because I'm like, at some point, somebody is going to see this.
I said the same thing. I said, what can it hurt? I said just one myself, just one, because now at the mindset that I am, I'm unafraid. Do you know what I mean?
Yes, I do.
Because when it first was presented to me 15 years ago, I was scared.
Yes.
I was like, now it's like,
now do you think, now this is what I feel. I feel that once I hit 50, there was no limit.
Girl, please.
And it did not matter.
It did. And nowadays, I have no shame to offer to the youngsters, you know. So all the things that they are doing, everything that they are doing nowadays is on social media. I'm glad that I was born before social media
Me too.
ever existed, because I don't want some of those things to get out there. But I was like, oh, well, I'm not just one dimensional. I like an assortment of things. And I'm glad that things fascinate me. I like things that capture my attention. So therefore, if it captures my attention, I want to find out more about it. I want to explore, and I'm going to write down more. If you're just a passing fancy, I'll speak about you for a minute and then I'm gone. But if you fascinate me, I'm gonna go to my computer and start asking an assortment of things, because I want to see the possibilities of what could potentially happen. I'm weaving a story together, and I'm like, oh, I can't wait for you to see this.
Oh, I love that. As you was talking, I was hearing the song Candy. As you were saying fascinating, and that was the part of the song that came in my head. Like fascinating.
I love to be fascinated, because not everything warrants and captures my attention.
So what fascinates you?
I love looking at nature. I love watching the birds in the backyard. It's almost like a party that goes on in my backyard. My daughter calls me the Black Snow White, because I feed the birds. There's always some form of fashion of gang warfare with the squirrels and then the pigeons. So it's always something crazy. The cats that walk in my backyard. So they fascinate me. So I have put my personality on the characters in my backyard, and they make me laugh. And I told myself, I need to write a book about the squirrels, the birds, the pheasants.
I was just getting ready to say that. I was like, have you thought about putting that?
I told my daughter that, because she constantly keeps saying that. She said, you love going out there and feeding those birds. I said, I love it. I said, because when they stop by, it's like they're stopping by to visit me. I know they're here for the food, but they be like, hey girl, and then I'm sitting in my office looking at them. I love to be fascinated by the wonder, and they're so beautiful. Only God could, make a red carpet. Only God has a perfect makeup artist that everything, the lines don't even run when the application of the colors and stuff. I was like, I said, God has the best makeup artist under the sun.
Yeah.
These birds. Look at it. Look at the red. They have red eyes, but then they have a blue iris. And then they got all the feathers, and then they got red feet. And, there's one bird that hangs out in my backyard. I call him the pimp. He's a pheasant. And he's gorgeous. And he always has these two little hens walking behind him. And I'd be like, oh, there's a pimp and his girls. And they're like, oh, I got to go get that money for your daddy.
Love it. I can talk to you all day. I love it.
So I have a very creative imagination, and love fascinates me too. So,
I was gonna say, just listening to you talk is like, that's amazing.
Girl, thank you. It took me a moment, because, I didn't like my own voice. I never gave thought to me recording podcasts and going to poetry slams and talking in front of crowds. Now, when I worked in the beauty industry, there were thousands of people that were always there, but it was more so like a one-on-one exchange.
Yes.
I never had to stand in front unless I was doing a makeup tutorials, stand in front and give you directions. But I just was like, all my friends kept hearing it. And then my agent said to me, why aren't you doing more with your voice? Because I sound like a voice. She said, no, you don't. Have you ever paid attention to the way you speak? No. I said, I'm the girl next door. I say, I'm the girl nobody really paid any attention to. So now when my friends from Jackson, Mississippi see me, they be like, you weren't like that when you were home. I said, I know. I had to leave Mississippi to become me.
Yes.
I had to leave because I felt as if I would just blend in with the landscape like everybody else. So I was like, no, I'm going to leave. And California introduced me to an assortment of things. And then when I moved to Michigan, they just personified it. Michigan was like, I'm sorry. So when God showed up and said, oh, be an author, Michigan was like, oh, you're going to talk your way out of this. And I was offering up all these excuses under the sun. And God was like, God basically was sitting there like, technically you're wasting your time. Just go on. You know, oh, I'm going to get what I want to get. You can tell me all those things that you're not all you want. I already had plans for you before you were born. I know you. I know what you have inside of you.
So he gave you your I am.
Yes. He co-signed it too. He was like, I'm giving you my stamp of approval. Then when I got my father's, my earthly father's stamp of approval, all bets were off.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Because that's what you'd be concerned about, especially, you know, being a PK.
Yeah.
See, that was me, because I wasn't technically a PK, but kind of sorta, because I lived with my grandmother and she was she was my person, you know, and she was the one that put everything in me and all this stuff. And those were my thoughts too. I was like, oh Lord, my grandma ain't gonna like this. But I'd be thinking, they know I'm crazy, so you know.
Now it's just part of the landscape. Now we're gonna have a different conversation. It's never the same conversation with the same person. It's always something different. I like variety. I am not one of anything. You know, I don't even just listen to one radio
person
station or one I have an assortment. One day you might call me, I'm having a Sting moment. I'm listening to Sting.
Ooh, I love
For this
Sting.
past Mother's Day, I was having a Tupac moment. I was like, all eyes on me.
I was gonna say, did you see my reel? I did a thing on Dear Mama for Mother's Day.
I saw that. Because everybody was thinking, because I told my daughter I'm listening to Pac, and she said, oh, are you listening to Dear Mama? Are you missing your mom? It's like, no, sweetie, I miss my mom, but
no,
I'm listening to All Eyes on Me. She was just like, girl, you too much, Mom. You too much. So I said, well, I'm not one of anything, and you can't put me
in a box.
You can't pigeonhole me. You can't put me in an exclusive category, because I am that chick. I like things and people that fascinate me. And if you fascinate me, you got me.
Yes.
You got me.
Yes. So there's a question that I like to ask. If you could talk to your younger self, what would you share with her?
I'd tell her, thank God for being a late bloomer. In word, thoughts, and deeds. I was not a very attractive child, and people always made me aware that I was an odd-looking duck. And
don't they love to do that in the South?
Girl. But I was like, but see, God wasn't done with me. I don't care what you say or what you think or how you feel. God is like, I'm not done with you. You're still you are a young woman. And I was like, it's not all about the looks. It's not, because my mom would often say, your looks can get you through the door, but it's your mind that will keep you there.
That's going to keep you there. Yes.
That's going to allow you to do tours. And at a young age, I was so inferior and I was so unsure of myself that I would gravitate to what other people thought. I never went to what I liked until I did, because I got tired of struggling with their stuff. And I was like, I didn't even want that anyway. That's not even what I like. This is what I like. And so I would tell my younger self, stay the course. Don't give up on yourself. Don't even give up on your dreams. And it's great to be an assortment, not just I'm just an author. No, I wear too many hats. The umbrella is so massive, and the things that's under it that I do, I'm covered.
You see me, right?
That umbrella, because people like to put you just in one category. No, my umbrella is vast and never ending. And
they want to pigeonhole you there too.
Yeah, they'll pigeonhole you there. But I was like,
they'll stick a pin in your thing and be like, "Oh, she's just an author, or she's just a whatever." No.
Stay the course.
Multi-dimensional person.
Yes, I love juggling, yes. And I love keeping the balls up in the air, because sometimes when I'm in the process of juggling an assortment of balls up in the air, something else will present itself, or a new idea will be birthed in the process of me juggling and maintaining what's already up there.
Oh, I love it.
And a new idea will show up, and I have to stop myself. Sometimes I'll be like, wait a minute, God, wait a minute. Let me get a piece of paper. Because if I don't write it down, sometimes it'll leave and it won't come back.
Girl, so notes on the phone. Notes on the phone. Girl, that happened to me this morning. I woke up and I got this idea. I woke up at like 6 o'clock in the morning, which is very rare for me. I woke up at like 6 o'clock in the morning, and I was like, oh my God. And I got this download, and I said, you know what? I grabbed my phone and I opened up my notes and I put on the speaker, and I just talked it in there. I was like, hey, this is it, and I have like I have a folder on my notes that's for ideas. So I'll put it there, and I got like a folder on there for prayers, and I got an affirmations folder and all these folders. And so I'll sit down and I'll be like, oh, I gotta write that down, and I won't be able to find a pen, So I'll put it right in my phone. I'm like, okay. Because, they come and sometimes they just flood through, right?
Yep. I have to ask the Lord to slow them down sometimes. And I do occasionally put stuff on the memo on my phone. I'll just talk to my phone and tell it, blah, blah, blah. But sometimes as I'm writing it, it more so resonates, and it'll take hold. Yes. And it'll be like, oh, yeah.
So like you embody it.
Yeah. I embody some of those things and some of the characters. I even told one person who was interviewing me, I said, if you ever met my character, Roxanne, that's my first series of books. If you ever met Roxanne, you'd actually be standing in my presence talking with me.
I love it. I love it. As much as I don't want to end this, no, we need to. Tell the people any last words, and also where they can connect with you and where they can buy your books.
You can connect with me on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. Okay. My author name is on Facebook. Yeah, Camille St. Charles, Mississippi. Go to CamilleSt.CharlesMississippi.com. I have a website. From my website, you can press those buttons and it'll take you to either my books, my podcasts, some interviews that I've done in the past, and make you aware of what's coming up for me.
Okay, awesome. That is so awesome. So any last words that you want to offer to people that especially are looking for their place in the world? Because that's what it feels like you did. It's like you found your place in the world, and the place that, makes you feel whole. So if you have any last words to offer to people that are watching that are looking for that, because most people are, looking for, their place in the world.
I suggest that you go more so inside than without. Don't even worry about comparing yourself to all the influencers and what you believe your friends and stuff are doing, because you don't even know the dog and pony act that's going on in some of your friends' lives.
What you talking about? Because they're not all on Facebook standing in front of Mercedes that they own.
That's right. And all that glitters is not gold. and you need to find your peace, whatever makes you happy, because home is different for everybody. And you need to be at ease and at peace. And you can't pay for peace.
Nope.
It just has to be there. Because, you know, all the money under the sun, which is a thing of beauty, but the trade-off is you have so many other people nipping at your heels. Everybody's trying to figure out how it showed up for you and why it didn't show up for them.
Or how they can get a piece of you.
And how to get a piece of yours. Or even if I have to swindle you to get a piece of your pie. And I am of the mindset that there's enough pie for everybody. I'm not taking anybody else's slice. This is my slice.
Yes.
So when I actively sought God out. So when God came and talked with me, because you know you have to know God for yourself, but that's a whole nother religious.
That's another
ball that you have to keep up in the air. But when I talked with God and He made me aware, He saw greatness in me. He saw travel. He saw versatility. He saw all of those things that I was telling myself that I was not, because, you know, the world has a tendency of telling you you're not going to amount to anything because you look a certain way. And I said, but God, but God. So God didn't shut the door in my face. He allowed me to just roam. And until I found my own slice of heaven, my own happiness, I was like, well, thank you, God. Now that I have it, I wouldn't trade it for anything under the sun. I don't really care what you have. I'm happy for you, but I got my own wishes, dreams, and visions. That's coming true for me. So I thank God that He blessed me and smiled on me in the literary arena. I have come a long way from where I used to be, because I'm coming from a different world and I'm stepping into the literary and everybody's looking at me like, who do you think you are? You know, you didn't go to school for that.
I was going to say, I know that intimately. I know that intimately, because every time I say that, they're like, but you was a nurse.
Yes. Yeah.
And then not only that, I was a little play nurse. I wasn't even a nurse. So they're like,
God has for you is for you.
I don't have a degree. I'm like, yeah, well, no, you know, but whatever.
Yes. And, you know, they look at you sometimes and, you know, they're like looking down. Some of them look down, but then when they see me on television or when they know that I'm the keynote speaker.
Wait. Or when they Google you.
Yeah. Oh.
Googleable. I love it.
I told somebody that because they told I was at the NAACP book fair and the guy said, well, I don't see your name on the itinerary. I said, oh, I'm so sorry. It's under Camille, St. Charles, Mississippi. Google me. And as he Googled me, I was the first thing that showed up. I was like, 12 things for me. And he was like, so he said, so you mean to tell me I've been sitting here talking to you and I didn't even know what you do? I said, when I come here, I'm here for something else. I have a different agenda. I don't come here as the author. I come for something else. And he was like, I am impressed. It gave me more brownie points with him. And I was like, okay. So I thank you so much for this, Tammy. I have thoroughly enjoyed it. We're going to have to do another one because I had so many things that we wanted to talk about. So,
and I was going to tell you,
great minds.
That's what I was going to actually tell you. I was like, we're going to do a part 2, and it's okay because I actually have another guy that he's coming back on again too, a young man. And I love it because to me, the conversations are so amazing. And then, you know, when you start telling your story, you know, I don't know, I almost couldn't even finish writing because I usually like take notes and stuff and everything, but I almost couldn't even do that because your stories are so captivating. And I am just, I don't know, you take my heart and, you know, just hold it. And I just love it. So we're connected. So we're going to
do another one. This is just part 1. So this is, part 1.
We will definitely do a part 2.
Yeah, because I want to go more. So I jump into more detail, and I know you have an assortment of questions for the love junkie that lives in me.
I was gonna
So
say, you know I do. But yeah, so thank y'all for joining us. Wherever you are listening, wherever you are watching, make sure that you smash that subscribe button if you're watching it on YouTube, and make sure that you hit the download button if you're listening to it wherever you listen to podcasts, because it is on Spotify, on Apple, Google, Podcast, Bean, Radio Breaker, Listen Now, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music. It is all over the internet. So wherever you listen to your podcast, you can hear this one. So I'm super excited for Miss Camille St. Charles, Mississippi to join me, Miss Gale Rucker to join me. This has been an amazing show. So stay tuned, because we will be doing a part 2 to this one, because we have some other stuff to talk about. And if you are listening to this show and you would like to come on Straight Outta Savannah and talk about it and share if you are changing the planet, I would love to have you. So you can
oh,
reach
I love
out to
that.
me.
I love that. Straight out of Savannah, changing the planet. Oh, that's good. That's good.
You are ready. If you're really ready, reach out to me. You can find me, you can Google me, and you can find me almost any social media network that you are on. So again, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank
Bye
you.
now.
You take